Well, welcome to the three most likely outcomes in the 2024 election. So let's start off. Already filled out the safe and likely states, no need for that. So let's see. We can also just do lean states briefly: North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona. I think these three states are right now probably the lean category, quite decisively. Michigan, I've seen some of the early ballots, and it looks pretty decent for Democrats, so I think I'm gonna have that as Lindy. Nevada, just through, gonna be closer than Michigan, I think. I'm gonna give it as a high tilt margin win for Harris due to the previous Democrats winning it, and that leaves off Wisconsin and Pennsylvania as true toss-ups by all means. And as you can see, whoever wins Pennsylvania probably wins the election, because unless Trump, yeah, we can just do that. So if Harris barely wins Pennsylvania, she's at 266, so she does need Wisconsin to win. If Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, he wins the election by de facto. Probably one of the more better looking maps for Donald Trump for sure. But the most likely outcome right now is, I think, Harris narrowly winning. And the second most likely outcome is probably either, like, I think Trump winning Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. I think most likely outcome is that the presidential candidate who wins in 2024 will likely win both Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. But in my map, I have this as a 276 win. And we can just move on to the second most likely, I should say, just the second option of what's going to happen in 2024. There's no difference or changes in percentages on what, if this map or the third option is more likely. But yeah, I think I probably should put New York by 5. Or, yeah, probably that's more likely, though. I don't think. Might drop to lean, but I doubt it. So, in the red wave scenario where the polls are extremely wrong, you would see some crazy stuff happen. And this most likely would happen not only from a polling miss, but from a silent majority being a thing yet again for Donald Trump. And I actually moved the margin to likely R. So I would say this is the second possibility on what could happen in 2024, aka a red landslide for the GOP. Let me put that there. Michigan would be tilt. I do agree New Hampshire would be tilt. I forgot about that. Well, oops. And then New Hampshire, Minnesota. So I think this second scenario, and of course, there we go. So this second scenario is the red wave scenario, where A, the polls are extremely off again. B, the silent majority is there. And third, most importantly, this means Harris does terrible with minorities. Trump gets probably the best performance by a Republican with minority voters, not only since Reagan, but probably since Nixon 1960, which would be insane. Probably Nixon 1960 with African Americans, and then he probably does better than Bush with Latinos, which this is the second scenario of 2024. As you can see, the Rust Belt. You could even make Wisconsin likely are, which would be crazy. Iowa, Ohio, Texas, all would be above 12%. Virginia, the only reason I have Virginia here is mostly because it would really rely on there being a polling miss and something, I don't know, just basically luck. I could see Virginia being tilt R in this scenario, but from the early returns, it's looking pretty okay for Republicans in Virginia. They're not going to win it, I don't think, but this is the red wave scenario and what could happen in 2024. Still, Minnesota and Nebraska 2nd District go for the Democrats, in my opinion, because that is Tim Walz's home state, and Omaha, it's a city, and I don't expect Trump to do amazing with suburbanites in 2024. And now for the blue wave scenario. But briefly, I want to shout out Cook Political Report for inspiring this video, because I was inspired by their new model, their swingometer, which if you change anything, like let's say white non-college graduates going more for Trump, for example, it changed the map, and I really loved this, and I had to make a video. And all the maps I used for my video today were approximately inspired by all these numbers. And Cook Political Report, go check them out. This is not ad. I shout out things that I like, and yeah, I'll leave a link below. So where do we start with the blue wave scenario? So Alaska would definitely go into the lean category. Essentially, Trump would do way worse with McCain Republicans and that sort of thing. Arizona would be lean. I don't see a way for Harris to win here by a likely margin. Let's see. Florida would basically be a repeat of 2020. Miami-Dade will likely be just the same as 2020 or even better for Harris, which would be crazy to see. Second district, same thing. Not same thing, but same margin, by a lean margin. So let's see. Iowa and Ohio. And yeah, I'm in the Rust Belt. So the only way I see these margins in the Rust Belt is if Harris somehow does a bit better than Biden with non-college graduates, aka those working class voters, blue collar voters. Like I mentioned before a handful of videos ago in that CNN poll that showed that she was doing better with non-college voters, and that is the main reason that is the reason why maybe this possibility could happen just as likely as a red wave, and this could potentially be a blind spot for Donald Trump in 2024. Yeah, this is the blue wave scenario. So let's see. Georgia, it's tough to tell. I know Georgia Democrats are not as, it doesn't look like they're as enthusiastic as compared to 2020, mostly because they don't have a Senate race or anything like a governor race in 2024, and that's really the main reason why it looks pretty good for the GOP. North Carolina till D. The best thing that Democrats can hope for is that somehow Mark Robinson sinks Donald Trump, even though I highly doubt that happens. Texas, even in the best case scenario, I don't see a way that Harris wins Texas. Maybe if she would have picked, someone from Texas as her VP, or someone from maybe like Mark Kelly, you could see that happening, would win in Texas. And also, you gotta remember that Harris is on track to probably do worse than Biden with Latinos. So that's really the one of the major reasons why I don't think, even the best case scenario for Democrats, the blue wave, that Texas goes blue. But yeah, there's the blue wave scenario. Here's the red wave scenario. Really don't know what's going to happen because polls in this election have been all over the place. We have some polls that usually are off, that are biased to Democrats, being biased to Republicans, aka what Quinnipiac perhaps, but we will see. Then you got some, it's vice versa. It's all over the place. Still, in my opinion, the 2024 election is a toss-up by all means right now. According to the polls, Trump is gaining, even though I don't think you should trust the polls, because I wouldn't be surprised. The blue wave scenario also relies on there being a polling miss where the polls actually trying to figure out Trump's Senate majority, they overdo it, and that would cause for this scenario to happen. That is, another reason for this possibility perhaps being number one. Red wave scenarios also, this scenario also relies on abortion not being as a big of an issue in 2024. Economy, cost of living. This would be probably the number one scenario, which I would see it happening. But right now, it's really contentious. Probably going to see some form of a polling miss compared to 2022, and not as much. I don't know which direction that could be. But yeah, I would say right now, this is the most likely outcome for 2024, with all eyes being basically on Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. But yeah, let me know if you like this video. Please feel free to leave a like, join the channel membership, and the Discord, of course. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.